Drogba indirdi ceza. Snyder. Snyder gol! Allah'ım gol! Muslera. Fernando Muslera. Golün adı Muslera. Drogba. This is incredible.
Merhaba and welcome to episode 14 of the Lion's Den, a Galatasaray podcast, done by the community, for the community. From all around the world, I'm your host Samet, and I'd like you all to give a big applause to my fellow podcast members. From New York, America, Brooklyn, Emre. How are you doing today, Emre?
I'm doing okay. Kind of depressing day for me personally, but yeah, Galatasaray.
Yeah, let's not talk about that yet.
Yeah.
And our Manhattan boy Yasin, how are you, boy?
Upset, bro. Upset.
Yeah.
It's hard to be happy after that result. And this is the first time we're doing a podcast, I believe, like right after a game. So it's hard to be anything but upset.
The wound
after
is fresh.
That.
Yeah. Let's see what Coach John has to say from Toronto, Canada.
You know what? Any day I'm talking with you guys doing a podcast is a good day. All right.
It's always wholesome. So wholesome. I love it.
Okay, that brightened my mood. Thanks.
Exactly.
Good.
Thanks, John.
That's what we need, man.
Wholesome John.
Yeah. So to all our listeners, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So firstly, apologies for not having an episode last week. I think we can all thank Yasin for that. Last minute excuses, bullshit, last minute cancellations, stirring shit up. I mean, I'm surprised he's in today and didn't have an excuse. So,
Listen, you guys should be saying thank you, and I should be saying you're welcome because we were able to watch that Manchester City Real Madrid game because of it. This guy Samet wants to have a podcast during the Champions League game between City and Madrid, and I said, bruh, like, why are we doing that? And iyi ki de yapmadık because that game was one of the best games I've seen this season. And, you know, after watching a shitty Galatasaray all season, it was a relief to see some good football. So
he's just confirming again, podcast after podcast, that he's not a Galatasaray fan. This guy, I don't know, like, why do you even follow Gala?
He's a football fan, all right?
Why do we have a football fan on the Galatasaray podcast? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Nah, but to his credit, that game was goated.
That was a banger.
Summit, did you even watch that? Because I didn't see you make a single comment during that game.
I don't care about anything other than Galatasaray.
Tom, so we have a host on this podcast who doesn't even watch football. He just watches Galatasaray. I mean,
I
don't
do
you
watch
think we should
football.
have a guy? I don't know.
He watches
Did you watch that
Galatasaray.
game? He watches Galatasaray.
Yasin,
That's
just
it?
shut up, please. Go watch Arda Güler. Go watch Trabzonspor, Giresunspor. Anything but supporting your team.
You miss Beşiktaş, bro. That's
I'll watch all of it. I'll watch all of it, baby.
You're such a hoe, man. Taking it from all teams.
That's why he gives us the good insight, you know? He
I don't
goes
know
around a
about
little
that.
bit, you know?
I appreciate you, John.
Anyway, we didn't have a podcast like 2 weeks on. So there's a lot of things that happened. I'll name up a few and then we can go in depth, whichever one you like. Basically, in the past 2 weeks, Terim had an interview with The Athletic. It was an interesting interview. Posted some quotes on that on Twitter as well. Something less interesting, Ömer Bayram also had a interview with a Dutch news magazine about his life. Victor Nelsson had a very interesting interview with Galatasaray TV. The new election date is 11th of June. We also have leakage of our new jersey, home and away. It's not the old one that was rumored for a while. It's really a new one. And Elon Musk bought Twitter. And I was hoping he would buy... Well, not yet, but I was hoping he would also buy Galatasaray, basically.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, sponsored by Tesla or SpaceX. Yasin, is a Tesla fanboy.
I don't know what Yasin would do, honestly. He would just die immediately.
Exactly.
If we had that Tesla logo on our shirt, oh my, that would be it for Yasin.
Dude, that would be
sick,
sexy AF, man.
Dude, I'd wear that everywhere.
You basically already have like a Tesla logo stamped on your forehead, bro. Come on.
Yeah, Yasin is. Yeah, I'll give it to him. You do love Tesla, but I kind of do too. But those are Yasin's two biggest loves in life: Galatasaray
What?
and Tesla coming together.
Yeah, I can
Yes,
imagine
sir.
the new 2023 jersey, the away jersey with the Tesla logo. That'd be sick.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys seen the new jerseys?
Yeah, I've seen them.
Not a fan.
But did you guys see like a few months ago they had like the renderings were a little bit different. You know, like do you guys know what I'm saying? I remember how
Yeah.
we were sharing the pictures with each other. There was renderings like maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and then the new ones came out I think 2 days ago, and they're slightly different. So I don't
Yeah.
know if the design just changed or if the earlier one wasn't real or what it was, but
Up until like a few days ago, like you said, there were but for about a year, it was known already what we would have, and it was especially the parcella was red, yellow, and then with the black details also on the side of the shirt. I
Mhm.
love that one. I was so happy with that one. And now
They also
new-
had like the subtle lion too. I don't know if you remember.
yeah, exactly.
Like on the front of it, there was kind of like a 3D sort of
Exactly.
lion. It's very subtle though. So does the new one have that as well? Like the new
it
rendering?
does.
It does.
I guess
Yeah,
so.
I saw it. I like
Okay.
hyper focused on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that must be real then.
Yeah. Personally, I like the old one better, the home
Yeah.
jersey. The new one has like a bow tie like blackness around the neck, which is too thick as well. I'm not a big fan of that one. The away jersey's nice in black, the new rumored one.
Yeah,
so,
it's pretty clean. The black one is pretty clean.
yeah. But come on, I just want one season where we have a nice Parchala jersey, man.
Yeah,
Bro, I miss-
Yeah, those black details are weird, man. Like on the home one, I don't know. It doesn't. I don't. It doesn't look good. Like it just
On
looks
the neck?
odd. Yeah, on the neck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't like it either. I'm not a fan. What? Like, why can't we just get the classic 2012, 2013 jersey? Like,
Yeah.
make that the jersey every year, bro. It would sell millions.
Yeah, Nike they've been doing us dirty, to be honest. Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know,
The
man.
quality is shit as well. The past years.
Even that, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Yasin? The new jerseys?
I like it. The home is okay. I think that black part of it might look a bit different. Like we might change our opinions once we see it on the players, because
Yeah.
I think that often happens. You see a rendering and it's like and then you see a player wear it and it looks so much better.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
possibly, yeah.
I think it has that classic Parcella look to it. Apart from that black top, everything else is a perfect Parcella. Like the right side is completely red, the
Yeah.
other side is completely yellow. So I like that. And then the black one, I just realized now 2 of the stars are yellow and 2 of the stars are red.
Mhm.
I think that's the first time we're seeing that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like it. It's clean, like you said.
Yeah, I like the black one. Has my preference because I wear gala stuff like every day, unlike you, Yasin. So a bit more low
It's
key.
shit on Yasin Day, apparently.
Nah, I
alright.
promised him I would.
It's
Anyway,
okay.
so maybe a question for you guys. I was thinking about this last night. If you could choose to meet someone, anyone in the world, but it has to be linked with gala, who would you like to meet with?
Fatih Terim. Easy.
Yeah. 8'de kapanır, 18'de.
What about Yasin? Don't say Arda Güler.
Definitely not.
I mean, it's hard to top, Fatih Terim, but there's also other legends that I would love to talk with as well.
Fatih
Maybe
Terim would
even
slap
like
you man, for everything you said on the pod.
Schneider, or even like Haji,
Yeah.
guys
yeah.
like that. I think would be cool.
Felipe Melo
Um,
too. I love him, man.
Yeah, but I think Terim is the best. Obviously,
Mm.
he has the most insight on everything that has been going on the last 20, 30 years. So
Yeah.
Imagine
Yeah.
you're going into the restaurant. Imagine, the steakhouse restaurant we went in Istanbul. Imagine you go in there and at the table you have Fatih Terim, Haji, Snyder, and Felipe Melo.
Yeah,
sitting,
like,
waiting
what,
for you.
what do you say? What do you even like? I don't even know. I'd just be in awe. What like you sit at a table with those guys, and what do you say, man? Those guys
I'd
are
lose
like,
my mind.
They're greatness. If it's that restaurant, you just stay quiet and let Fatih Terim have a heart attack when he gets the bill.
I'd say, who's paying?
Yeah.
Jew Summit to the
It
rescue.
was a goddamn it expensive restaurant that we went to.
The napkin incident.
Yeah, no, that's the steakhouse incident where we paid like $8,000 for.
Wait,
for
there was
meat.
another incident where you guys paid. No, that was the. Oh no! Oh no! You're right. You're right.
I mean, there's a lot of incidents, unfortunately.
Yeah, you gotta be
unfortunately.
there. You gotta be there, man.
Anything else you want to go in depth with? Maybe the Victor Nelsson interview. You've all watched it, right? Except
Yeah.
I can
Yeah.
doubt about Yasin. You never know with him, but
Yes, I've watched it. I'm the one that shared first, bro. Come on.
What did you think of it?
I thought it was awesome. It showed what I already knew, which was how professional Nelson is. I loved his answers. He said Messi is better than Ronaldo. What else? What else do you need to hear from a player to know that he's, he knows what he's talking about? Jokes aside, jokes aside, it's nice hearing a professional player like that every once in a while. The way that he carries himself, it's the same on the field. The way that you heard him in the interview. I found it interesting how he answered some of the questions. A lot of his answers about professionalism and serious players on the field. A lot of his answers were like Marcao and Muslera, which is something that as fans you see on the field. So it's reassuring to hear it from a player like him as well. Seems like he has aspirations to kind of continue his career at the big clubs and the big leagues in the future. When the lady asked him about, where do you see yourself in this much time, he kind of like hinted at it, but he also didn't say anything that might upset fans. But yeah, it was nice to listen to. It was one of my favorite interviews in the last few years.
The kid has a good head on his shoulders, man.
Yeah.
He knows how to present himself. He knows how to handle himself. And doesn't matter what the question is, he always answers it in such a respectful way. Like, he shows so much respect towards the club. And it's like, it's just nice to see players like that, because I don't know about you guys, but one thing that like has pissed me the fuck off in the last few years was watching Belhanda. I cannot stand that guy. I hate the way he plays. I hate his attitude and everything. So it's so
no discipline. I know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly. And you see a kid like Nelsson come in, and he's just a professional, man. Like, he gets the job done on the pitch. He knows what he has to do. He's good with the press. He shows respect towards the fans, towards the club. And this is, if there's any club where, if you show respect to the club and show respect to the fans, they'll give it back to you. It's this club. This is the club to do it in. Our fans are really good when it comes, if you play and you play with your heart on the pitch and show respect towards the fans, they'll give it back to you 10 times over. And from that interview, you can tell he understands that. Gotta respect him, man.
Just that Viking discipline, bro. It's a Nelson Iron Sight.
Yeah. Hopefully he sticks around for a little while longer, and of course he'll leave one day, but hopefully we'll get some good business for him. So
to add, like, it's funny how much we see from the television, and basically in the interview, Nelson confirms that with the most list, right? Like, we could have guessed all of these as well. He says, who's the most messy, sleepy, and always late? Of course it's Halil. It's very obvious. He sleeps on the fucking field.
Bro, he looks like, his face, like, he just always looks like he's sleeping. Even like during the match, the look on his face, he looks sleepy. Like, I don't know if you guys know what I mean by that.
Oh, Yasin is offended. I can hear him.
He looks like a sloth, bro. He's always like
I'm not saying like I'm not saying he necessarily plays like that. I'm just saying like the way he looks, even when he's getting subbed on, like, it looks like he just woke up from a nap,
Just from bed. He just got on the
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nah, and he said also the most hardworking. He said Marcao and Muslera. I could have told you that as well.
For sure.
He said a lot about Marcao, actually. He said he is the most family man, Marcao. Also, he said he's the most aggressive, Marcao. But he said also, he hinted like on the field, aside from like outside the field, the most funny would be Marcao as well. Other than that,
It's
he
funny,
didn't
right?
name a lot of others. Yeah.
Being aggressive, but being also funny at the same time. It's kind of hard to pull off, right? Like being an aggressive person, but being funny at the same time.
He can switch
like
it
a
on,
weird-
I guess, man. when it
Exactly. Like
comes-
he knows
yeah.
when to be serious and when to,
Yeah.
be chill and whatnot.
Exactly. Except for the Kerem incident.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
What did you
we
think?
had the
yeah?
we had the Kerem interview too.
Oh, the most important one. God. Yeah. That one was insane, bro. It was just so insane, showing exactly what the Turkish league is, like what
Yeah.
Turkish football is going through.
I
now.
watched
Mhm.
and I read bits and pieces of it, but you watched the whole thing, right? Why don't you like give us the most
So
important parts?
it was a two-parter. First part, it was fairly casual. They asked him about Fatih Terim, and what he mainly said was that the players blamed themselves for Fatih Terim being sacked, like that they felt responsible. And it kind of confirms with what I was saying the past episode. Is we weren't playing bad. Everything was fine, except we couldn't score.
Yeah,
And today's game showed the degradation in quality, what we play as well. But
Yeah, we'll get to that.
we'll get to that. So they also asked him, who would you be when you were playing as a youngster football? Like, who would you imagine you'd be? He said Ronaldinho, which is funny actually.
Wait,
I al-
Ronaldinho?
Yeah, he said Ronaldinho. Like when you would go and play soccer outside with your friends as a kid. It reminded me, I would always be Figo. They would always call me Figo because I was short and I was very ballsy. You know Figo, right? Portuguese player.
I know.
yep.
Who would you be, by the way?
Me?
When I was young, it was always Hakan Şükür. He was my hero, man. I'll probably get canceled now for saying that, but when I was a kid and he was on top, always, man. That's why I had in my head.
I mean,
Emre?
he's one of the best strikers ever.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, I'm the same as Kerem. Ronaldinho. I loved Ronaldinho when I was a kid.
Yeah,
that's
Yoga
one of the-
Bonita.
Then, bro. Exactly, bro. Those videos was insane. I love those. I really upset when they stopped making those.
Which Fenerbahce player were you, Yasin?
Oh my god. Yeah, I was Ronaldinho too. I liked his
Okay.
creativity.
Oh,
He was a fun
damn.
guy to watch on the field.
Yeah. And anyway, the second part, he really opened up on his career, how it started when he
Yeah.
signed with Başakşehir, and that he basically said, I wasted 4 years of my time at Başakşehir. I went there and I was not begging, I was hoping that the ball wouldn't come to my feet because they were so rough, and if I did anything wrong, I would get cursed at. I would be feeling bad all day. So I didn't want my career to end because of the roughness and anything. So it was
And
really
he even said as well. I think it was at that part of the interview. He was saying that how he was considering quitting football too. I
Yeah.
think he said 3 or 4 years ago, he was thinking about quitting as well, which
That
is pretty
was-
crazy. Like imagine that. Like look at where
That-
he is now. You know,
that was in his second season when he
Yeah.
asked to be transferred to the third league.
yeah. Right.
And the reason for the third league is because they were looking into how they could get away with what's it called? The fee you pay for youngsters. Yetiştirme bedeli.
hmm
And they said no. Başakşehir said no. You're going to one of our pilot teams, Erokspor or something. And he said no. Fuck that. I'm not doing that. And then they basically put him on hold, and he just trained with Altyapı, with the youngsters. After that year, he closed his contract, and then he went to, what was it, Erzincan, and afterwards came to us. So
Yeah, he really put a light on, youth players in Turkey and how how some of these players are treated, or I kind of understand now. Like we probably have, like, I don't know, what's the population of Turkey now, like 80 million, maybe close to 80
Probably
million.
more.
Think about how much talent we actually do have, but will they ever make it because of the shitty infrastructure and youth football that we have, and the shitty attitude that some people have.
Yeah.
It's not even just the infrastructure anymore. People don't even have the means to send their kids to academies.
Even that, yeah, true.
Like the state of what Turkey's in right now, I understand. You have to be really fortunate. It's a luxury to like be able to send your kid to an academy. And there's no programs, there's no programs like we have here in like North America, where if you're good or something, you get a scholarship and you could go to, like a college team and then excel your way to professional leagues. There's nothing like that in Turkey. That goes back to your infrastructure.
No, Kerem said when he signed with Başakşehir, they gave him a minimum wage, which is nothing in Turkey. And they told him, we don't have a place for you to stay, so you have to find it yourself. And he basically had to drive like 2 hours or something with the support of his family just to play football. It's really tough to make it.
And I feel like he couldn't go. Sorry to cut you. I feel like he couldn't go into more detail. I feel like he had more to say.
Oh yeah.
But because of the state of Turkey,
it
he
definitely
can't
felt
say
like
more.
that. Yeah, yeah.
I was surprised he spoke so much, even. And and if it was the Netherlands, I'll tell you this. Let's say Kerem was in the Netherlands and he spoke about Ajax this way. Ajax would go public and say, we've heard this and we're going to make sure that this doesn't ever happen again with any of our youth players.
That would happen.
Have we heard
here
anything
too.
from Başakşehir? Nothing.
Nothing.
Scumbags, man.
Yeah. And who was the coach when Kerem was
Probably Abdullah Avcı. That's one thing I had in mind.
I mean, tam
4 years ago,
Türk
right?
zaten işte.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's like the part one really good, or I guess part I enjoyed of that is when he started talking about how like Fatih Terim changed him as a player. Like he was like, he gave me the confidence and freedom, and Fatih Terim believing in him and all of that. He really he has, when he speaks, he has a ton of appreciation for Fatih Terim, which is nice. And I think like you said, Samet, him and the other players were sort of blaming themselves. They felt guilty when he was sacked.
And it was true. We XG king, a lot of positions, but we couldn't score. Like that last Denizli game, which was a fiasco, of course. We had 40 shots, insane amount of shots and plays.
Point blank misses. That Chickle miss right in front of goal.
But then you have people like Yasin who still don't respect the guy. What can you do, eh?
Bro, if you want, I can get off the podcast. That's cool. I don't have to be here, bro.
You made us miss.
What Yasin, did you listen to the interview too, the Kerem one?
Yeah, of course. It was good. I liked it. One thing, now that you guys touched on Fatih Terim and Torrent, I guess a little bit going into it, he said it was very difficult for him to adjust his playing style in just the course of a year. Yeah. I think he said he was playing completely different before Galatasaray, and then Fatih Terim made him play, like, even though he was a winger, he played closer to the striker, I guess not just an inverted winger, but he was playing kind of like a second striker. And we saw that often with his runs inside behind the striker and whatnot. But underneath Torrent asked him specifically to play a little bit more wide, close to the sideline. And, as a winger, I guess that's hard to adjust, during your time as a player. And I think he's adjusted well, but it's interesting to hear the difference between Torrent and Terim in that matter and what they asked from Kerem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he said he didn't know how to defend at all when he came.
Oh, that's right.
That's well, and indeed the difference between the two coaches and how he plays. Yeah. All in all, very interesting. Did you have anything to add on that more, Yasin, on what he said? Or?
No, you guys pretty much got most of it.
Mm-hmm.
Are we gonna go into the whole Başkan thing?
Honestly,
that one is a doozy.
Yeah, I think maybe Emre, you can explain that better. I'm a bit sick and tired because what happened? just for
Well,
my own sake.
I don't
like-
know the exact laws or how it works, but
Mhm.
there's some guy, I forgot his name. But he went to the courts and he tried I guess he reported something like foul play or something like that, and the courts said, "Okay, we're going to investigate this." So they like adjourned the election by like X amount of days. So now it's on what, June 11th? Yeah. And so that's what happened basically. Nothing really, like the courts are not going to be able to do anything because they're not connected to the Galatasaray club. The Galatasaray club can still go along with the elections, but since it's a formality, it's like automatically extended. It can just all be avoided if Burak Elmas just goes ahead and he, resigns.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He said on Galatasaray TV that if I resign, nothing will help, nothing will improve. All we will manage is having a club without a president who cannot take any decisions. So it doesn't matter if I resign or not. At the moment, I don't think it does any good for Galatasaray if I resign and leaving the club without any president. That's what
Okay.
he's really pushing on.
Mm-hmm. And apparently, there's people saying that he's not really in like he doesn't really like the people that are running for elections. There's only two candidates, and to be honest with you, I kind of agree with him. I don't like when there's only two candidates because then you're kind of forced to pick between who's like the better of the like worst two candidates.
Mm-hmm.
But then again,
Yeah.
let me go ahead.
No. Finish off.
The one thing that he said about is he was criticizing the fans. He's like, I'm not leaving because of fans, but the funniest thing is he came because of the fans, and he was criticizing the fans, which I've really found funny and hypocritical of him. But what were you saying?
There's been, I don't know how much of it's true, but there's been some talks about with new laws and rules that the president will be personally responsible as well for financial losses during his presidency in the club. Do you think that has to do anything with only two candidates?
Could be, but I don't even know. Did that law actually happen? Like, is it?
I'm
like,
not
active?
sure. I do know there's been a law from TFF that the clubs can be sold now, which wasn't possible previously. But I don't know what's that. That's also why I don't want to get into this stuff too much.
Yeah, like isn't the whole thing the whole thing's kind of messy,
It's
isn't
a
it?
mess.
Yeah.
Even the members of Galatasaray themselves are saying stuff that's not true, or they're confusing stuff up.
Mhm.
It's just a big mess, and I haven't been able to find a decent source that can explain me. Look, this is what happened.
Yeah.
He was acquitted for this. He wasn't acquitted for that, and because of that, this is how it should go. But this cunt opened up another court decision or something like that, and it delayed
Yeah.
the elections again. I couldn't find any decent information about that, so I didn't really want to go too much into depth. But basically, in a nutshell, 11th of June is the new election date, and we still currently have two presidency candidates, Metin Öztürk and Eşref Hamamcıoğlu.
And I don't know. I don't know if they're allowed to do another like court case and then extend that again. I don't know if that's the play they're going for
I
in
don't
the
know.
end. But
It's just a
yeah,
big mess.
honestly, I don't know.
And between the two candidates, Yasin, Metin Öztürk or Eşref Hamamcıoğlu?
I think I'm gonna have to say Eşref. Metin just says something different every single week, and I feel like he's overpromising a lot. He's saying a lot of nice things, which kind of reminds me of Burak Elmas in a way. And because of that, it kind of leaves a sour taste / worry of what's to come.
Yeah.
Eşref has been a lot more calm, and he specifically says explicitly, like, listen, I'm not going to make promises. I'm not going to come here and tell you that we have all this money ready. I'm not going to make promises about all these sponsors and whatnot, which is exactly what Metin Öztürk is doing, which is what Burak Elmas did. So I think he's setting expectations low because he knows that it's not going to be that easy. Meanwhile, Metin Öztürk is making all these promises to, I guess at the end of the day, he's being political and trying to get votes. And that worries me a little bit. That's why I would feel a bit safer with Eşref. Eşref was also the guy who had the second most votes last summer behind Burak Elmas. So I think that's for a reason. Even with Burak Elmas saying that he's for Terim and he won the election because of that, even with that behind Burak Elmas, Eşref getting that many votes still, I think says a lot about what's going on behind the scenes that we fans don't see, that the other board members do know about Eşref. Eşref is a little more experienced. He's a bit older in terms of what's going on at Galatasaray that maybe Metin Öztürk doesn't know.
We need the wizard. We need the wizard Dumbledore to our Kerem Potter.
Oh, that's a good point.
We do. One thing that I do like about Metin Öztürk though is he seems to be, I guess, wanting a Turkish coach. He's mentioned Nuri Şahin before, and then he himself denied that, saying, "Oh, it's not true." And then there's rumors last week or this week that he's in touch with Okan Buruk. I think Okan Buruk could be a safe option. I guess we'll go into more about the Torrent talk in our future a little bit later. But Okan Buruk, I think most people would agree, is a very safe option for the next year when we're in this mess.
Metin Öztürk's guys had meetings with
talk.
Okan Buruk. Yeah, talks.
I know.
So, but do you want to get rid of Torrent? Is that... What do you think about that now?
Are we getting into that right now, or do we want to
Why
talk
not?
about?
I mean, I don't want to talk about the whole management stuff.
Yeah,
of the club. So,
if you guys,
I think me and John probably agree as well with Yasin. I don't know. I'd also go for Eşref. I don't know about you, John.
Yeah, absolutely. Metin is a crook, man. You just look at him. Just look at how he looks. Seriously.
Damn.
Like honestly, that's enough. Like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I'm able to look at someone and more or less read them, Just
really?
look at a picture of this. Yeah, you would know, man. You would know.
I don't know. Like, we met in Istanbul. What did you think when you first saw me?
Oh, it felt like I already knew you for like 30 years, man.
Like, did you get positive vibes or negative vibes?
Oh, the vibes are immaculate. Let me just say that, okay?
Immaculate. That doesn't say immaculately positive or negative.
Positive. But listen. When you look at a picture of Metin, you can tell right away he's a crook, man. First of all, I don't believe a word he says because just like Yasin said, he changes his story literally every day. He'll say, we agreed with this guy, that guy. We have 2 big transfers planned. We have he's just totally full of shit.
20 sponsors, 20 million euros in. Yeah, okay, bro.
Yeah, so I'm I will never fall for that. And Eşref, I don't know. Like, he was behind Burak last time, and I think he deserves a chance now.
Yeah,
and he's not doing all that craziness. He's not saying nearly as much craziness as Metin is promising and saying.
Exactly.
So he's a bit more reserved. He seems a bit more like responsible, So we'll see what happens. But if I had to choose, I'd pick him for sure.
If I could add to that, Eşref is also he has this fantasy about going back to like back in the day when Galatasaray had this whole revolution with Jup Derwal. He wants to reincarnate that whole process again. And that's something I'm actually looking forward to. Like, I know he wants like a German coach, but he's like not really set. He's like, whatever is available, the best option, that's what he wants. And he's like realistic, right? That's one thing I like about him over Metin, like Yasin said. And also, I don't know, he seems like a chill dude. Even when he lost, against Burak, he went up there to the stands with him. He stood there like a champ. He took it like a champ. So I'd go with him.
Yeah.
And and to answer the other question, I would not keep Torrent.
Yeah, we know about that, Emre, for a long while with you.
Just okay.
Yeah, no, that's good. I sent a picture in the podcast info channel. You see that Metin Öztürk was there during today's game against Sivasspor as well.
Yeah.
And he does look like a scumbag indeed.
He absolutely, man. Absolutely he does. What a crook, man.
Looks can be deceiving, but I'm going to go with John's intuition here.
Yeah. Trust me on this one, guys. Trust me. This guy's a crook, man. 100%.
What did you think about Yasin when you saw him?
Yasin? Yeah, same. Same exact thing.
He's a crook? Wow. Damn.
No. No, I can tell you right now, Yasin is not a fraud, okay? To anyone listening, trust me, okay? I spent a week with the kid. All right, he's not a fraud. All right,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say that.
Same from my side. I mean, I shit on him a lot, but he's the most
Yeah.
genuine, nice.
Let me
All right.
He's the real
me-
deal.
Nur
Let me put
yüzlü
it-
çocuk böyle tertemiz
Yo.
maşallah.
Dude, when the guys and I first met up, this kid was the first. He came to me to hug me first. Like he like pushed everyone out the way, like get out the way, and then hugged me. Man, it was like so heartwarming. This kid got a good heart, man. Love you, bro.
I love you guys too. Appreciate it. Let's talk about Galatasaray. Utandım şimdi.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah,
You know,
what about
we shit on you,
Yasin?
but
Yeah,
gotta show you some love a little.
it's all in good heart. Yeah. So
Alright.
Yasin, Torrent, continue or not?
Bro, it's sad to say this, but after today, I think an accumulation of the last couple of games, but today really made me think a little bit harder, not because of the loss, but because of the decisions that he's making on the field. You know, as a coach, you have to be able to read the game. And when you see, like as a fan, you see a sub come on in 75th minute for a player that's been very MIA, very tired, very slow, very heavy in Gomes. And then you see Mohamed come on like this burst of energy. You know, when he gets the ball, he's able to put it down. He's able to make runs. He's able to win these 50-50 balls. It makes you question, like, Torrent, why don't you play this guy earlier? Why don't you start this guy? You know, first week after his injury, it's like, okay, he's injured. Second week, okay, maybe he's not 100% fit. But like today, I was completely expecting Mohamed to play,
Same.
and we still see Gomes. And I just can't get behind it. Yes, he scored, you know, but when you think Gomes, you look back to what he's known for, not just for Galatasaray, but for Marseille and, you know, his the club he played for in Saudi Arabia. I think it was Saudi Arabia, but he gets in the box. He knows where to be, when to be. His timing is immaculate. He just needs to get that one touch on the ball. You know, how many times did Gary Rodriguez just dish in the ball and, you know, Gomes was in the right spot for that one touch the goalie can't do anything about. Now Gomes is slacking. He's behind where he's supposed to be. Or when he gets that opportunity, his touch is not there, or he can't even control the ball properly. It was just very disappointing to see. And I don't know. Same thing with Morutan. Like we've been saying, oh, Morutan's a bit off. He came on the field and I thought he was pretty damn good. Emre Kılınç. Yes, I like Emre Kılınç, but he lost the ball way too many times today. And for him to stay as long as he did, I don't know, man.
It's like I said, like in the past podcast, Emre Kılınç, when he's on and he's not doing good, just sub him out because he's not going to do better the rest of the game. He either has a good game or a bad game. And that's it with Emre. And that's what we saw today as well.
I just want to say this before. I'm curious about what you guys think too, but, you know, Torrent is not a guy who came in yesterday or last week. You know, obviously 6 months is still early, but in 6 months, I expect a coach, whether that's Torrent or Kerem or Okan or Nuri Şahin, whoever comes in tomorrow or yesterday, to be able to read the game that your team is playing at home. You know, you're competing for 5th place, right? There's something to win, and your team is behind, and you know, you expect him to be able to read the game and make changes earlier to be able to change the game around. And I didn't see that. And I would expect him, as experienced as he is, to be able to read the game better. He can be the best tactician there is, but there's certain criteria that a coach needs to check off. He could be weak in certain areas, but being able to read the game in the Super League, in the Turkish Super League, you know, where the game is changing all the time, to be able to read and make the subs at the right time is something that's really important. That's something we criticized Tenen for years. And we should be able to criticize Torrent for that as well.
Oh, yeah.
And in fact, I would criticize him more because he is known to have that experience as an assistant, right? As an assistant, you're kind of get those responsibilities that maybe, okay, the coach is paying attention to certain things on the field. You have to be able to give extra assistance to the coach that you're assisting. Okay, look, maybe we should, here's a reminder, maybe we should make this sub, maybe we should do this. And I'm not really seeing that from him. And it's getting harder and harder to back him, I guess is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, personally, you might be surprised, but in no way I find it fair to judge a coach that came in throughout half the season and with the player he has. Yes, I did always say Fatih Terim was doing good. I liked how we played with the footballers we had, and we totally regressed from that for sure. We're not doing any better, only worse, in my opinion. But nonetheless, I don't find it fair to say Torrent is a bad coach. I want to see him throughout a summer transfer with signings he wants and a new season where he starts how he wants. Obviously, he took over and he had to do with what he has, and I don't think that's a good, fair judgment to do. Basically, so I'm still wanting Torrent. I mean, Terim should have never left. That's one, but I'm still okay with Torrent continuing
Well,
to next
eventually he should have left, but not in the middle of the season.
season. Oh no, that was the biggest mistake. I might take some snippets from the first time we discussed this.
Yeah, it's
It's funny.
one of the worst mistakes that Burak Elmas made, hands down.
Mm-hmm. John, you wanna intro us to the game against Sivasspor?
I do, sure, but let me just, I'm going to say one thing about that, and then
Go
we'll
ahead.
jump into the match. I just have, so first of all, I don't know if I want to continue with Torrent anymore, but because this is the thing, I have one main problem with him. So earlier we were talking about the interviews that Nelsson and Kerem gave, and I think it was the Nelsson one. They were asking him about Muslera, and he was like, when Muslera is on the pitch, when he's playing behind the team has that confidence and like safety net. They know, just him being on the pitch, you feel comfortable. You feel like nothing can go wrong. Like he's just you. There's a certain aura that he has on the pitch that makes everyone confident and makes everyone feel secure. And the same exact thing goes for the coach as well. That's what Fatih Terim had. With Fatih Terim has such an aura where it doesn't matter if you're going up against, an army. Because you have Fatih Terim, everyone has that, safety net. They have that motivation. They have that confidence. But Torrent he doesn't have that, And this is something I mentioned the first podcast we did where Torrent just started, and we were trying to see, how do we think it's gonna go and stuff. And that's what I said. I don't think Torrent is that guy. He doesn't have that presence, And that's that just makes such a difference, man, for players and their mentality going into matches. And I'm sure he has a ton of good ideas when it comes to football. Tons. I'm sure he's a genius when it comes to that sort of thing. Many people have said that before, including Pep himself. I don't doubt that at all. But I don't think he has that aura. I don't think he has that head coach personality. And I think that makes a really big difference. So, I agree that it's also not fair for him to be playing with a team he didn't necessarily build and stuff like that. If I had a crystal ball, I wish that I could see who he would bring in the summer and what he would try to do with them. Unfortunately, we don't have that ability. So it's a tough call, man. I don't know. I at this point, I wouldn't really be upset if we were to let him go. But it's just hard, man. It's like maybe he'll bring in the right players and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, if you don't have it, you don't have it, man. And he just doesn't have that aura that I think is so important. So I don't know.
I wanted to actually touch on a bit of what Yasin was saying about him not being able to like formulate any reaction. It's funny because he's been a tactician for Pep Guardiola in 3 of the biggest leagues in the world: Spanish league, the German league, and then the Premier League, which arguably is the fastest league in the where the ball is constantly moving, right? And then he comes to the Turkish league, which is arguably way slower, probably should be a lot more easier to read, and tactically isn't anywhere near these 3 top leagues. And he hasn't been able to show me that, I can do this, I can make this kind of change. I think today the Halil is the closest the Halil change is the closest he's ever come to making a decent change and getting a reaction out of the team. And like you said, John, when he's on the field, he doesn't give me that aura or that confidence that this team is going to perform, like he's going to make a change or go into the dressing room, come out, and you know the team is going to like improve better, like because
Exactly,
we've
yeah.
never seen that. And to like with Fatih Terim, even though we did not do that great this season, I didn't really feel like, oh, we're definitely gonna lose this or we're definitely gonna lose that. We didn't have Muslera for quite a bit of the season, right? Because he got injured. We had to deal with Ismail Chipe. We didn't have Okan Kochuk, and let's not forget we didn't have Markau for 8 games as well. And then on top of that, unfortunately, he got himself banned, which was pretty harsh. But even though all that happened, yes, we were, 12, 13? We were, like, between us and first place, there wasn't a whole lot, the point gap wasn't that extreme. And before he came, I always said, Torrent is probably a decent coach, would be a decent coach, but I don't think he's the coach for us because we need someone that could come and take our players and do something with them. We need a player coach, not a system coach right now because we don't really have the players or the means to buy the players. So, yeah, I guess, and I've been saying, like, the player coach that I've wanted was Okan Buruk.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm actually digging Nuri Şahin as of late too. But I still think he needs to like mature a little bit. He doesn't even have his pro
It's
license
his
yet.
first season.
Yeah.
I can't. No.
I like him, but I wouldn't be opposed to having him in the future either. Because I actually like what he did with Antalya.
Yeah. John, take it away. It's all yours.
All right. So our match today, we played against Sivas. I'll go into the starting 11. So we started with Muslera. Backline was Sasha Boy, Nelsson, Semikaya. Markau was injured, so Semi stepped in, and Van Aanholt in left back. We had, playing in the middle, we had Pulgar, Taylan, and Emre. On the wing, we had Babel and Kerem, and up front, we started with Gomis. Well, let me start by saying this. I thought that for most of the first half in this match, we played well for most of the first half. The end of the first half, it got pretty bad, but I thought when we started well. I thought we started energetic. I thought we were playing the ball into space, playing in the gaps in the field. That was evident from the first goal we scored, which was beautiful. We really ripped them apart on that first goal. Gomis scored the first goal for us. Really, really nice build-up play. That was nice to see. Gomis also scored our second goal, which was the penalty. This one finished 3-2. It was a loss, unfortunately. But aside from that, that chunk in the first half where I thought we were playing well, after that, and like this is like a pattern in the matches. After that really good spell, we just declined, man. It's so frustrating to see. Like, I thought we really struggled. I think Markau makes such a difference defensively, of course, but also in when we build up and when we settle into the game and try to set up and keep possession. Markau makes a big difference. I notice, and of course defensively, like, come on, man. Without Markau, there's a gaping hole there. Everyone knows that, Yeah, it was a frustrating match. What do you guys think?
I agree. First 15 minutes, it's like, yes, this is what I want to see from the team. Attack, pressure. Don't let him breathe. And then after we find the first goal, even though I felt like it was a poor finish from Gomis, we were just fortunate the goalie kind of like messed it up and couldn't like really get a good hand to it. But it was a really good build-up play. But I don't know what just happened after the first 20 to 25 minutes. The team just like said, okay, I'm going to stop, all thrusters off. And they just pulled back. And Sivas just kept pressuring. And then we just, it's like, bro, anyone could have seen it. Like, we were going to get scored on, especially with no Markau. It was coming. I don't know. Like, we had this problem with Fatih Terim too at times. Like, we would score and then we would just pull the brakes and then just, like, concede. That was, like, one of my biggest, like, pet peeves with him. We would concede less with him, of course, but we would still concede and, like, the game would be tie, or we would, like, concede a last-minute goal or something like that and lose the game or something. I don't know. But, like, yeah, like you pointed out, Started
Mhm.
well, ended really bad.
And we're at home as well, man. We're
That's
playing these
the
matches
hardest
at
part.
home.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're playing these matches at home. There's absolutely no way this should be happening. There's
If
no way, man.
If I recall correctly, I think Sivas had a higher ball possession than us for the first half, which is shocking to see for a team like Galatasaray. Like, how does that happen?
Absolutely shocking. Absolutely.
Yasin?
Well, we couldn't hold the ball. That was a problem. We just way too often turnover after turnover after turnover. Attempted dribbles were failures. We're trying to make passes that didn't go to our players. When we did pass, sometimes we pass it to players in situations that are hard to control. I don't think we were smart about how we were passing the ball, how we were opening up space. And like I said, man, I think we lost the game today because of our mental problems. It looked like the team was just not there. It was obvious from their behavior on the pitch as well as the way that they were trying to play, but also because of just individual mistakes from a lot of different players. I think our midfield was a bit weak. I think it's worth touching and talking about Thailand in the midfield over Bergkamp today. So we had Eric Pulgar, Thailand, and then we had Emre Kılınç. Emre Kılınç is a player who doesn't always play the number 10 role, and he's a player who unfortunately has a history of losing the ball a little too often. He tries to do the right things, but he loses the ball a lot. So that's one midfielder in your trio who loses the ball a lot. And then you have Thailand, who, he might be a little bit calm at times, but this season especially has a history of losing the ball at the wrong place at the wrong time. And I think that's what led to the third goal for Sivas today. Thailand just lost the ball at the bad spot, or was it their second? I don't recall. Eric Pulgar played a decent game, but again, our midfield was just too weak today. And Sivas came with this mentality that, okay, it doesn't matter where we are on the table. It doesn't matter if we're in Istanbul or in Sivas. They came to play. They were aggressive, at times very frustrating and annoying. They sometimes tried to milk plays that they had no reason to. And sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But I think that got to our head today. And we just looked poor overall. I don't know what we were trying to do going forward. I think the times that we did look our best was when we were trying to counter. And we did that brilliantly, the first goal. That was a brilliant build-up play. But, you can't win the game all the time like that where Sivas has a ball in your own home and you're trying to counter all the time. It just doesn't work like that, especially when you have heavier players like Babel and you have Gomis up top. It's not going to work all the time. I think that's kind of what I wanted to say overall. It's just disappointing to go back to, I think it was John or Emre said about Torrent and, how he comes off on the field, how Fatih Terim, he makes those players believe. Torrent not only does that for the players, I think he doesn't do that, but also you got to get the fans behind you too. Because once you get the fans excited, the fans then get the players excited as well. That's how Galatasaray has been for years. That's how Turkish football is. The fans are such a crucial part of the game. And when the fans are not behind the coach, they're not going to be as loud as they are. And that's just not going to help the team mentally either. So I think that's where we lost the game today, both mentally and a lot of individual mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In my perspective, you want to win against us, Galatasaray? Just let us have the possession, because our team cannot play possession football. That's just a fact now from what we see. If you look at, indeed, like Yasin said, first half, we didn't really, possession wasn't ours. It was Sivasspor, and the attacking momentum was theirs as well, but we still managed to score in that game, in that first half. And second half, we had more possession, more attacking momentum, but obviously we conceded a lot more. And that just, if I would play against Galatasaray, have two players press the penalty box, the rest be stable at the back, and just wait for a counter attack, because we give away so much anyway, especially when we play possession based football. Just the two players pressing that penalty box, pushing us for errors, also a way to get goals against us. So it's the players as well, but also coaching wise, I mean, if you recall, we were always discussing how we never let a goal in our goal aside from individual mistakes. Now, that's not the case anymore. Everyone can make plays and score goals from open play. Whereas before, we were very good defensively. And also, attacking wise, we were very direct towards the goal and creating positions. If we scored, that's a different discussion. And I can go on and on about all the unjustful decisions that were made in the first half. But yeah, no, Terim was better, but Torrent doesn't deserve this either. So
Yeah. If I can add to that, dude, this team is so reliant on Kerem. If Kerem wasn't on the pitch today, I don't think we would have done anything. I don't think we would have scored, because the first assist, and then he like the second the penalty, right? Who is gonna get that, bro? Everybody else is like slow. You gonna think Baba's gonna do it? You think Thailand's gonna? I don't know why, but like, why are we playing with Thailand and Eric Poulgaard in the same field? Why not put Berkan, who is more athletic, who runs more, presses more? I don't know. This team is just not it, and like the way he's making them play is just, it goes against what they were made to do. Like, and to go to your whole defensive aspect, this team under Tatum did not concede more than 2 goals in any game. This is like the second or third game we conceded more than 2 goals. And to add to the fact, we did not have Markout for 8 games. On top of that, we played with Luyendama, Mr. El Bomba himself.
yeah, looking back in retrospect, would you say it was good that we got rid of Terim?
I mean, is that a rhetorical question?
I mean, I recall that everyone was psyched and happy about it. So
the thing is with that is, I think the idea to get rid of Terim was a good idea. It was the timing that was really, it fucked us over. It was the timing of it. I don't think that getting rid of Terim was a bad idea. I actually really support that idea, because like I said a million times now, it's about time we start thinking about life after Terim and how, what we're going to do when he can't coach anymore. I think it's time to start thinking about that. But yeah, the timing was very bad, man. The timing was very, very bad. And, the matches leading up to his departure, they were 1-goal games, man. We were losing 1-0, 2-1, 0-0. Like, we just couldn't score goals. So, we can go in circles talking about that by now. But yeah, it is what it is. We have 3 games left. All 3 are very difficult games. So, at this point, Torrent is playing for his job. He's playing for his job now. And even if he does win, let's say we somehow win the last 3, I don't know if he's going to make it still. I think they'll probably still get rid of him. But, it's an unfortunate case what's happened this season. But, we have some time before next season to get our shit together and try to turn it around, Yeah.
There's reports about Sasha Bowe after the game. He said, "We concede goals on the points we actually work hard on, especially in the middle. The positions we find, we couldn't score anything. And what we work on very hard, in the details, we concede goals," is what he said. If I translated that fully correctly. Which shows that Torrent is indeed working with the team on a certain tactic. He expects certain players to do certain things, which is on the field today, which what we saw.
Yeah.
And it's not anything different than, Berkan pressing up high, and now we had Thailand pressing up high. And he's asking the same of both these players. Also asking the same from Emre Kılınç. Basically, these 2 attacking midfielders had to press up high when the other wasn't. So there isn't really a big difference. What I want to say with that is, he isn't necessarily then adapting his strategy based on the player, which he always says, I play with the cards I'm dealt with, which doesn't seem to be the case. He has a simple theory, strategy, and just lets that go on. Is from what I see. Maybe Yasin, do you want to say a few more things about the game before I ask a close-off question? Because it's been an hour.
I'm flu. I want to get your thoughts on Khalid, everybody. How he was today, how you think he might be a part of this team going forward under Torrent
Lazy,
or any other coach.
sleepy, always late.
You don't think he had a good impact on the game today?
I don't
In
like
that role?
Halil. I don't like Halil.
Yeah, man, he just has a bias against him.
I
Do
don't-
you think Chikaldao is better than Khalid at that role?
Well,
Why?
Because Chikaldao is more versatile, more box to box, and Halil, he's there.
Okay, wait.
up in
No,
the
wait. I
future.
don't care. I don't care if he's box to box. So I'm asking in that role behind the striker, like the number 10, the cam.
We can't
Whether you want to
afford.
call it cam.
We can't afford that role. We need presence in the midfield,
well,
and Halil is just
Don't
a
we need
liability.
presence up
at
top
this-
too?
Yeah, sure.
Chickledao did well there actually behind the striker in the first half of the season.
Mhm.
He scored
beginning,
2 against
yeah.
Marseille, though, and he was
Yeah.
like right behind Mustafa.
Mhm.
So
In the
it
beginning
did
of the
work.
season, correct.
Yeah.
But like now we're here, and Chikaldao
Yeah.
has not been playing that position well for
Yeah.
quite some time. Do you think maybe we should move on from Chikaldao at number 10 and play more in that box to box? Which I agree with you, Summit. He's more of a box to box player.
So
So
maybe it's
maybe
not a 10. Chikaldao is not a 10. He's an
Okay,
attacking midfielder.
so I agree.
He's like Emre Baba.
Is he though?
Yeah, the same kind. Emre is more attacking than Chikaldao. Chikaldao is more balanced in my perspective.
I always
So I just want to say, like, what I like about Khalid, which is what we saw today, and unfortunately he's not very consistent, but neither is his minutes, neither is his role, because he's worked with 2 coaches now who have played in many different roles this season, so it's hard to really criticize him for that. But
He's mediocre.
what
He's
he
not
d-
Gala level.
listen, he's how old is Khalid?
he's Turkish. That's the only thing. That's the only reason he's here. Let's be real.
Listen, Khalid is 22 years old. He's younger than or about the same age as Kerem. He's still young though, 22 years old, and
Yeah, but
he's
if
like
he
I said,
doesn't
playing.
have the attitude, he cannot make anything out of himself. And trust me, like John says, when I see someone, I see if the vibes are immaculate or not. And Halil doesn't have that.
I think
Exactly.
okay, so I just want to say I think it's worth considering him for the future if we can get him for a good deal, because what I like about Halil is he can play that role behind the striker where he's strong, he can hold the ball, he can turn the ball really well. He's a guy who knows how to take the ball, turn it around and start dribbling towards the goal, which is what we don't really have. You don't see Chikaldao do that. He's not strong enough to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he does turn towards goal, he can pass the ball into open space. He knows how to play it out to the wings, and he knows how to shoot. He's got the aerial threat too at times. I mean, he needs to work on it, but he has that potential.
Does he know how to
And,
shoot though? I don't know about that.
Yeah. I think he has a potential. I mean, there are times where he has good strikes, other times it's not so great. But you've seen him hit the ball really well and find
Good
corners
strikes
and find
right
the
into
goal.
the goalie.
We're
Yeah.
going to have a long discussion when we make the chair list.
Come on,
Like
I
this.
think you guys are not being fair.
But-
Halil has found a lot of nice goals this season, with his strikes, and I don't think he's gotten enough consistent minutes that he could otherwise see. I mean, the amount of time that we see Chikaldao and Emre Kılınç at Cam, I think if we saw just as much of it with Halil, with a proper striker in front of him, we could have done much more in our attack, and that's where we're kind of lacking too. Like you said, Emre, our biggest threat going forward is Kerem. I would include Mohamed too, but he's not playing.
He's not playing. That's the problem, bro.
Yeah.
right.
That's
but like,
annoying.
don't
You
you
need to
think
know it.
Halil would be more of a threat in the attack than
Yeah.
Chikaldao?
See,
I'm not saying delete Chikaldao. I would love to
No,
play
no.
Chikaldao in the midfield with maybe like a Berkan or a proper CDM plus Halil. But
Yeah.
like, I don't know. And another thing that I found interesting recently, I just want to add before moving forward. If we get rid of Torrent and we bring Okan Buruk, I read and heard that Okan Buruk is a fan of Halil, and he would be able to use him even better than maybe Torrent and even better than maybe Kerem has been. So with that said, I think it's worth considering his future here. He does have potential, and he's 22 years old. If we can bring him for a few mil, because Brentford are not going to utilize him.
Mm-hmm.
His options are going to probably within the Super League. Başakşehir, Fenerbahçe, Beşiktaş, and us. I don't see him really
Right.
going anywhere else.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what you guys think about him.
I
Go
don't-
ahead.
I don't hate Halil. I'm not like Samet who he doesn't complain. That one positive thing about his lazy attitude is he doesn't complain if he sits on the bench. When he does come on, he plays. And yeah, I don't know. He, like you said, Chikaldao is not really like a number 10. You know, he can't take the ball, he can't dribble it past people and then like find, you know, the net. I think the whole thing about Chikaldao was he was never meant to be the number 10. I think the whole vision when he came was that Fatih Terim was going to use him in unison with Jetson, right? So Jetson would probably be the more of the number 10, and then Chikaldao, like someone said, he would be the more balanced of the midfield, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the whole concept of Chikaldao. And Chikaldao, I don't know, he's completely lost this season, like the second part of the season. So I would actually go with Hadid for, you know, if he's playing behind Mostaf. And there was a game where he played with a striker, and it was an amazing game under Tatum. I forgot which game it was.
Yes, there was a couple. He played
Right?
alongside Muhammad, just like you said, and we scored lots of goals. We found lots of chances that game, and they worked well together. And
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to see more of under Torrent, but we didn't, unfortunately, which is another criticism of mine because, not to cut you off, but Torrent himself said like a month in, Halil is actually more like a number 10. Unless that
Yeah.
was a misquote, it was a lie. That's what I remember reading. And I got happy that he would actually use him there, but he didn't.
I just don't trust anyone who makes real videos and highlight videos on his Instagram on his best moves, not even goals because he hasn't scored any. It's just
No, he doesn't play. The man's working with what he got.
Well, anyway, I think maybe also for our listeners, I think after the 3 games we still have left, we'll make a special podcast on a chair list of all the players we have.
Tier list, you
already.
mean, not chair list?
Sorry, Mr. Native Speaker, tier list. But yeah. So you want to say something about Halil, John, before we close off?
Yeah, super quick. I don't have too much to say about it, but you know, I in that role behind the striker, I don't think he's bad. I also don't think he's ideal. I think he probably could be useful, but you know, we're arguing sort of about who is better there, like Halil and Chikaldao, but it's like that's not either of their positions, right? It's like you know, regardless of who we think is better, that's not where they play. So I think Halil can possibly be useful there. I think he has some skills that would make him useful in you know, attacking, and I think he could have some decent playmaking abilities too, but you know, that's at the end of the day, it's not his position. That's not Chikaldao's position either. So I don't expect him to play, you know, work miracles there. There's other roles for Chikaldao in the midfield, but we don't have that, you know, great of a squad, and there's some gaps on the field that need to be filled. That position is probably one of them. And that's it. I don't hate Halil. He's not my favorite either. I wish he changed his body language a little bit, because as a coach myself, when I look at the bench to make a change, I'm not putting anyone in a game that has that type of body language that just looks like they woke up from a nap. That's definitely not going to happen. So if he wants to play more, maybe he can reconsider that and see how that goes. But, you know, I don't hate him. I don't love him. It is what it is. He has potential. Will he be with us next season? I don't know. But, you know, time will tell.
Yeah, we have so much more to talk about, but we're running out of time. We also had a lot of listeners' questions, but a lot of them seem to be looking forward to the future of the club, and I think these are more suited for after the league ends. We can do a couple of episodes, tier list, future questions, etc., etc. So, with that said, I'd like to thank everyone that's been listening so far. And as always, you can follow us on Twitter under the handle @TheLionsDenGS. And yeah, we'll keep in touch. Thank you all.
Thank you guys for listening.
Peace.